Welcome to the Wisdom That Breathes channel. Across all our platforms, we try to share wisdom which is relevant and accessible to everyone. But on this particular platform, we go deeper into some of the ancient principles found within the scriptures. If you find some of the terminology difficult or inaccessible, then go over to our Keshava Swami YouTube channel where you'll be able to find other content which is perhaps more relatable. Thank you and enjoy the wisdom that breathes.
Jai Radha, Jai Radha, Madhava, Jaya Kunja, Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Giri Varadhari Jai Giri Varadhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Giri Varadhari Jai Giri Varadhari. Jaya Yasoda Nandana Jai Braja Jana Ranjana Jai Braja Jana Ranjana. Jaya Yasoda Nandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रीला भाई चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत गोस्वामी महाराज इस्कॉन विभिन्न संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य शिल हरदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की गंगा माई की जमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की कलयुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की श्रीला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशनल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की राइज रिट्रीट यात्रा की ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Rise Retreat, and thanks to the organizers, Keshav Swami Maharaj, Mayank and others, for inviting me to speak on the topic of the heart of the Parampara. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarishyo Vidu Sakalene Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa. This transcendental knowledge comes in Parampara, in the chain of disciplic succession. And Krishna tells Arjuna that I am speaking this to you because Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratana bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hi etaduttamam. Because you are my devotee and you are my friend, I am speaking this knowledge to you. The conditioned soul is trapped within this material world, and the conditioned soul is experiencing pain due to Adidaivik, Adibhautik and Adhyatmic miseries. Bhukta bhoga parityakta drishta dosha cha nityasha na ishvarasya ashubham dhatte Sve mahimni sthitasya. The conditioned soul tries to repeatedly enjoy bhukta bhoga, and when he tries to enjoy, he goes through suffering. And then when he tries to counteract that suffering, he goes through more suffering, and his suffering goes on increasing. When the British were in India in 1915, that time, they found a phenomena where the number of cobra snakes in Delhi were growing. So one of the British officers there, he came with a solution and he announced to the public, anybody who brings a dead cobra, you will get 25 paise as reward. He thought this will solve the problem. But the farmers around Delhi thought it's a great business idea. And they started rearing cobra farms. And suddenly the number of cobras went on increasing. And someone came and told the officer what was going on. He became very angry. And he announced, I am cancelling this scheme. Even if you bring the cobra, you will not get your money. The farmers became upset. They released all the cobras in Delhi. And so, when the so-called solution of a problem is worse than the original problem, They call it the cobra effect. So in this material world, many of us experience that situation where we are looking for pleasure, we chase the pleasure, experience pain. To counteract that, we try to chase more pleasure. I was going for a program in Mumbai and I saw a big apartment building and it was written, Sukh Shanti apartment under repair and maintenance. We try, we fail, we try again. So the Bhagavatam describes, where does this cycle end? Bhukta bhoga parityakta. We have to give it up. When will we give it up? Drishta dosha cha nityasha. When we see the fault in this phenomena. And who helps us see that fault? Because when a conditioned soul is blinded by lust, by greed, by desire to enjoy, when the conditioned soul is obsessed, we cannot see. So those who help us see this and understand this, that why I am going through this pain, those personalities are our gurus. So in essence, there are only two categories of souls in this world. One, those who go through pain, and everyone goes through pain in this world. The second category is those who understand the purpose behind the pain. So the Parampara is the lineage of spiritual teachers who help us understand the purpose behind the pain. They help us with the process to go beyond that pain by remaining focused on the purpose and then experience the pleasure which is there in the spiritual world. That is what the Parampara is all about. The Parampara helps us rise above pain, focus on the purpose, and ultimately experience pleasure in the spiritual world. And that's what the Guru Parampara's task is all about. Amanistarite tomar iha agaman parama doyalu tumi patita pavan. Shripad Ramananda Rai, he looks at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Kovur in near Godavari, and he expresses his heartfelt feelings that just by your presence I feel I am going to be delivered. You are Parama Dayalu, supremely merciful, and you are Patita Pavan, deliverer of the fallen. That's the heart and the mood of the Parampara. They are Parama Dayalu and they are Patita Pavan. And then Srila Prabhupada brings up this point. Who is Patita? Who is fallen? And so he says, Vedanishtha madhye ardhek vedamukhe mane Vedanishidda papa kore dharma nahi gune. One who knows what is dharma and what is adharma, but still is unable to practice dharma and succumbs to adharma because of temptations, because of weakness of heart, that is patita or fallen. Mahanta swabhava etarite pamar nija karya nahi tabu yatara ghar. And therefore it is the duty of the great souls, the personalities who have devotion in their heart, prema in their heart, They travel across the whole universe simply to transform the consciousness of the living entities, to transform the intentions of the jivas. When there is purity in intention, then there is enthusiasm in the inspiration. There is clarity in intelligence. There is perfection in integrity. And there is consistency in the intensity with which one makes efforts. So this is what the Parampara's mandate is all about, to help the conditioned soul transform their intention. The intention should not be that of fear. The intention should not be that of desire. The intention should at least be that of duty. And if not, the highest is the intention out of the feeling of love. So the whole Parampara works in a collaborative effort to help transform the soul's intention and bring it to the level of love. Pragada premere ei swabhava achar nija dukkha vignadira no kore vichar. In every relationship there is scarcity, impediment, discomfort and unhappiness. But still, when the relationship continues, that is love. And therefore love is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita as service without selfish consideration. Selfless service is what is love. Bahu parishrama chandana remuna anila ananda badila mane dukkhana gunila. When Shripad Madhavendra Puri took lot of pain, made lot of effort to bring the chandan from Malay to Remuna. Generally when we experience pain, when we exert ourselves, then we have a tendency to remember that pain and to keep a count of all the troubles I have gone through. That is selfishness. When I try to remember and recollect all the difficulties I have gone through. When we keep a count of all the troubles I have gone through in order to perform a particular service or in a relationship, then keeping an account means business transaction. We keep an account of what is coming in and what is going out. But in love, there is no account in terms of what we are giving, because we only do giving, giving and forgiving. And therefore, Shripad Madhavendra Puri is glorified by Lord Chaitanya as someone who was simply giving, who was simply in the mood of selfless service. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that for those who are in this Gaudiya Parampara, Shripad Madhavendra Puri's intention, consciousness represents the gold standard of service, which is service without any selfish consideration, simply being there as an instrument to serve and please, and willingness to go through unlimited pain on a personal level to give pleasure to Krishna and the Vaishnavas. So the pain doesn't stop. The pain will always remain. But when one understands the purpose behind the pain of this world is ultimately to inspire us to connect with Krishna, then one voluntarily experiences and accepts pain just to give pleasure to Krishna. And therefore, that's what the Parampara is all about. I remember when I joined the ashram in the 1993, I was sent to the kitchen to serve. And 1 month later, one more devotee joined in the kitchen. He was a very well-built person. I saw his body and I thought he'll be good for making the dough for the chapati. Because we didn't have a chapati dough making machine those days. So he'll wrestle with the dough very well. So I made him to make the chapati dough and roll the chapatis. And I thought he was doing pretty good. And I was also with him doing the same thing. But like a week later, he came up to me with a very sullen face. And he started complaining to me. And he said, "You did not recognize my talent." I said, "What talent?" He said, "I'm one of the biggest speakers in my village. When I stand up and give lecture, the whole village claps. And you have engaged me in making chapati?" I joined ISKCON to be a preacher, not to make chapati. And I told him, "Why you're telling me I'm also making chapati? What's the point you and me discussing?" He says, No, I wanted to make a point. There has to be some respect for someone's talent. Again, after 3 days he complained. Again, after 4 days he complained that I came to be a preacher, not to make chapati. After 1 month he took his bags and left. And while going, again he said the same dialogue. I came to do preaching, not to roll chapati. 10 years later, he met me at a program. He came running up to me and he said, "After I left the temple, I got married. After marriage, my wife got back pain. Every day at home, I am only making chapati." And he said, "Maybe I should have been patient. Things would have changed." So when we connect with the Guru Parampara, one of the most important transformations which happens is we realize we need to be patient and tolerant with respect to our progress in spiritual life. And therefore, this patience and tolerance is what is the gift of the Parampara. Titikshava karunika suhrda sarvadehinam ajata shatra shantah sadhavo sadhubhushanam. So sadhubhushanam means it is an ornament, medal. When is a soldier given medal? When the soldier fights the battle bravely, is victorious in the battle. As a result of that effort, valiant effort, the soldier is given medals of victory. So similarly, when the conditioned soul, as part of the Guru Parampara, practices the process, follows the path, and continues serving with tolerance, with patience, titikshava, karunika, suhrda, sarvadehinam. These are the various qualities which are gifted to the soul by the grace of the Guru Parampara for the valiant fight against Maya. Not succumbing to the temptations of Maya and continuing the fight in service to Krishna. And that only happens by the blessings and the grace of the Parampara. So therefore, the essence of the heart of the Parampara is Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanena manadena kirtaniya sadahari. We can only connect with the Parampara on the basis of humility. When we are humble, the word humility comes from the Latin word humus, which basically means soil. soil has to be fertile, soil has to be soft, soil has to be filled with all the ingredients by which the seed can grow into a fantastic plant. And therefore, Balaramji represents the plough. He carries the plough. And when Balaramji uses the plough, then as a part of agriculture, the soil, when tilled by the plough, becomes ready for growth. Similarly, Balaramji's plough manifests in our life through the instructions of the Parampara. And the Parampara's instructions enter into our heart, and those instructions act like the plough which till the soil of our heart. And then in that soil, when the seed of bhakti is sown, that seed of bhakti gradually starts growing, and Krishna with his flute attracts our heart. We become attracted towards Krishna. The process of bhakti becomes attractive as a result of Krishna's beautiful flute playing. So both Krishna and Balaram represents this principle where Balaramji prepares the heart, prepares the soil, and Krishna attracts and enchants our heart. And therefore Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan ISKCON established the deities of Krishna, Balaram. Srila Prabhupada was in Kumbh Mela, Prayagraj, 1971. One devotee came running to Srila Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he told Srila Prabhupada, the devotees are having a debate. And Prabhupada said, what's the debate? And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Madhudvisha Prabhu, he is saying that the difference between Krishna and Balaram is Krishna is black and Balaramji is white. Srila Prabhupada said, he is right. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Yamuna Devi, she is saying the difference between Krishna and Balaram is only Krishna enjoys with Radharani, not Balaram. Prabhupada said, she is right. Tamal Krishna Maharaj became confused. He looked at Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, both are saying two different things. How can both be right? Prabhupada said, you are right. So he said, Srila Prabhupada, what's the right answer? Prabhupada said, you decide. And then Prabhupada said, people call me Prabhupada, but treat me like Problempad. And don't think I'm just like a question answer machine. So Srila Prabhupada established Krishna and Balaram to drive home this point that our growth and progress in sadhana bhakti depends on the intervention from our spiritual teachers who till the heart. And it may be Path Pradarshak Guru, Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus, but all those who deliver transcendental knowledge, they actually help in tilling the heart, tilling the soil of the heart, and preparing the heart for receiving the Bhakti Lata Bij. And then, when we begin the process of bhakti, gradually that transformation happens. So the beginning is that satsanga, and in that satsanga, to hear about the right direction. We have the example of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj wanted to sit on his father's lap, but his stepmother, Suruchi, denied Dhruva. He became very upset, very angry. He came running to his mother, Suniti, when Suniti saw her son sobbing, crying, she understood what had happened. She could have increased the conflict. She could have increased the agitation. But the characteristic of the Guru Parampara is they are like doctors who understand that the patient is already infected, inflamed. We need to resolve it. So what did Suniti say? Tameva vatsang shraya bhritya vatsalam momokshobhi mrigya padamja padhatim ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite manasavasthapya bhajasva purusham. Suniti says, my dear boy Dhruva, your stepmother Suruchi, she said, if you want to sit on your father's throne, there is only one way. That you have to be blessed by Lord Narayan to be born ultimately as Suruchi's son. You know she is right, because she said only Lord Narayan can help you fulfill that desire. So Suniti had that sense to take the best part of whatever Suruchi said. That's the power of the Guru Parampara. They help you see the good even in the most negative situation. How do I take things from here so that I can enhance my faith and Shraddha in Krishna? And that was the genius of Suniti. And Suniti immediately encouraged Dhruva Maharaj to become connected with Shripad Narad Muni by going to the forest. And Dhruva Maharaj enters into the forest and meets Narad Muni, and Narad Muni tells him, Gunadikam mudam lipset anukrosham gunadamat maitrim samanat anvichen na tapairabhibhuyate. He says, you have to have three types of vision. When you see someone superior to you, you should feel happy. When you see someone inferior to you, you should feel compassion. When you see someone equal to you, you should make friends with them. And Dhruva Maharaj looked at Narad Muni, folded his hand, and he said, this is a great lesson for those who are Brahman. But I am a Kshatriya in an angry mood. I cannot understand what you are saying. The anger is not allowing me to process this. And therefore, I only desire one thing. Padam tribhuvanotkrishtam jigishu sadhu vartmame. I want a kingdom greater than that of my great-grandfather. That is my ambition. So here is Dhruva, whose heart was supremely agitated by anger. His heart was filled with ambition. Ambition for competition, for conflict. His heart was not at all ready for cooperation, for collaboration. And he comes in contact with Narad Muni in such a state of fury and anger. Anger is one letter short of danger. And under the influence of anger, one loses one's discrimination completely. Many years ago, it was in the 97-98 period, I was invited to give a lecture at Yeravada jail in Pune. It had almost 500 life convicts who were sitting in front of me in the audience. I love jail lectures. You know why? because audience is guaranteed. No RSVP is required. 500 prisoners sitting there for the lecture. And I gave the talk, and after the talk I said, any questions? One prisoner raised his hand. Said, I have a question. I said, ask. He said, I will come on the stage and ask the question. I got worried. I asked the commissioner of police who was standing next to me, who is this? And the commissioner said, he has committed 12 murders. I said, am I going to be 13th? Why does he want to come on the stage? He said, don't worry, let him come. He came on the stage, asked this question, I gave the reply, and after that I asked this young man, at such a young age, how could you commit so many crimes? And he said, when I am overwhelmed with anger, my discrimination goes blank and I can't think of anything. But after coming to the jail, I have been performing the task of translating books in Braille language. And the book which I am translating currently into Braille for the visually impaired, that book is very interesting. I said, what book is that? And he said, the book is Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada. And then he said, by reading that book, I have developed one desire, that I want satsanga, good association of devotees. Immediately the next week we started the satsang, and as a result of that satsang, within 4 years, there were more than 100 prisoners in the jail chanting 16 rounds. Srila Prabhupada ki. So that is the effect of satsanga, positive association, hearing knowledge from the Parampara. I was giving a talk at MIT, Boston, 2006. It was my first lecture at MIT. And as you know, I am from IIT. So I was very excited to give lecture at MIT. Bada bhai, elder brother. So I was standing there all ready. My PowerPoint was there with the person with the laptop. The projector was there. Everything was there. But the guy with the projector was, trying to figure out. The projector was somehow not working. So I waited, and for after 5 to 7 minutes, this person came to me and whispered in my ear that, I'm sorry, sir, the LCD projector in MIT is not working. I was shocked. MIT? Highest in technology? Projector not working? I felt at home. कि भाई ऐसा भी होता है. And then not only that, this staff, MIT staff, American person, he whispered in my ear, I suggest you depend on your Krishna and give your lecture. I said, thank you for telling my philosophy to me. And I couldn't say anything because the topic of my lecture was overcoming anger. And the first slide was, things will not always work the way you expect. How many of you had that experience? That things will not work the way you expect. And therefore, if you compare Kama and Krodha, the chances of us succumbing to Krodha is much higher. Opportunities exist all through the day. And therefore, when Dhruva Maharaj comes in contact with Narad Muni, he then gives him the mantra for transformation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mantrena Nena Devasya Kuryadravyamayin buddha saparyam vividhair dravyair desha kala vibhagavit. Narad Muni tells Dhruva, you chant this mantra, worship the deities of Krishna with simple ingredients as per time, place and circumstance. Saparyam vividhair dravyair desha kala vibhagavit. Because you may not get all the ingredients here, but the important thing is not the ingredients, but the intention with which you serve. And so Dhruva Maharaj engaged in serving the deities, chanting the mantras with full focus and attention. And Srila Prabhupada says that in the first 6 months he ate this kapita fruit once in a few weeks, then he started drinking water once in a few days, then he started breathing once in a few days. It was like the height of austerity. And then Lord Prishni Garbha manifests in front of him. So Srila Prabhupada says, why does the Lord appear in front of Dhruva? Because of his austerity? Maybe, yes. But because he performed that austerity on the instruction of Narad Muni. He was connected to the Parampara. He was submissive to the instructions of Srila Narad Muni. Because of that submission, because of that loyalty, because of that diligence, that dedication, determination, then the Lord is pleased. And the Lord manifests right in front of Dhruva and places the conch with his right hand and touches Dhruva Maharaj's forehead. And the 5-year-old Dhruva, whose heart was bursting with irresistible anger, just some time ago, his heart was filled with the poison of anger just by the touch of the Lord's conch shell and by his divine darshan and by the chanting of the mantra. His heart became filled with the nectar of the desire to glorify the Lord. But he's a 5-year-old boy. He has not studied Sanskrit. He has not studied any of the Vyakaran or the grammar. He's not trained to compose poetry. He's not trained to recite poetry. What would he do? Just by the touch of Lord Vishnu, Dhruva Maharaj's lips are filled with the best of poetry. Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjivayat akhila shakti dharasvadamna anyam sahasta charana shravanatvagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. In his beautiful prayers, Dhruva Maharaj expresses that, my dear Lord, you have entered into my heart. Pravishya. And after entering into my heart, mama vacham imam prasuptam, you have enlivened my sleeping senses. Sanjivayat akhila shakti dharasvadamna. With that energy potency by which you run the entire creation, that potency has given me the power to glorify you. And in this way, Dhruva Maharaj is completely transformed because of the association of Narad Muni, because of the association and the touch of the knowledge of the Parampara. And then later, after ruling over for 36,000 years, Dhruva Maharaj, when it is at the last moment, he sees his mother in a Vaikuntha airplane going towards the spiritual world before him. And Srila Prabhupada explains that anyone who is connecting us to Krishna consciousness and anyone who is connected to us in Krishna consciousness, everybody gets the benefit of the parampara. Api me Bhagavan Prita Krishna Pandu Sutta Priya Paitrasat Sevya Prityartham Yad Gotrasyata Bandhava. Maharaj Parikshit looks at Shukadeva Goswami and he says, my dear Shukadeva Goswami, you have arrived here at the most appropriate moment to deliver me. How is that possible? And he says, the credit goes to my family. It is because of Arjun, it is because of Yudhishthira Maharaj, my grandfathers, who Krishna loved so much, that even beyond their lifetime, he is seeing what is going on in that family, what help that family needs. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, one can offer the best service to one's family members by becoming devotees of Krishna, by connecting with the Guru Parampara. And someone asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, why you are running all these temples? You want to fill everybody in the temple or what? I remember when, I was trying to give prasad to one college student. He says, no, I will not take. I will not take prasad. I said, Arey, I have seen people refusing Gita. I have never seen anyone refusing prasad. Why you are refusing prasad? He said, I am afraid my hairstyle will become like yours. So one of our brahmacharis joined in the 90s. His father came and started arguing with me, why my son has joined at such a young age. When he is my age, he should join the temple. I said, let the son go, you join. He got bewildered. He said, let me consult at home. Next day he came and said, let my son continue. So, somebody told Srila Prabhupada, one reporter, Swamiji, if whole world becomes Hare Krishna like you, what will happen? Prabhupada said, don't worry, there will always be fools like you who will never come. So the whole idea of running a temple and a satsang is we get the inspiration to transform our home into a temple. What the Guru Parampara does is, the Guru Parampara helps you add 3 more family members to your home. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, 1 more, Sudarshan. The Guru Parampara help you add 2 more personalities, Gaur, Nitai. They help you add Radha and Krishna. And so, if in your lifetime you tell these personalities, you have no place for, I have no place for you in my house, then after death, they will also say, we have no place for you in our home. Whereas in this lifetime, if you connect with the Guru Parampara and open the doors of your home and allow these personalities, Radha, Krishna, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Gaur, Nitai in your home, worship them with love and feeling and devotion to the best of your ability, then all of these lordships guarantee you that at the time of death, you will go nowhere else but the spiritual world. And that is the gift of the parampara. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, we are running the temples and satsangs so that you can come and get inspired and transform your home into a temple just by doing 3 things. Add to your home Krishna Nam, add to your home Krishna Katha, add to your home Krishna Prasad. As soon as you add Krishna Nam, Krishna Katha and Krishna Prasad, your home becomes a temple. And that's exactly what the whole purpose of human form of life is meant to be. I remember when I joined the ashram, my family was not very happy. And anybody would ask them, where is your son? They would just say, he's in Mumbai. What is he doing? He's in Mumbai. But he must be doing, he's in Mumbai. So one of my cousins was watching the television program, Atma serial, and he recognized my face. And then he called my family and said, hey, looks like this guy is familiar. He's the same, no? And my family could not refuse. They said, yeah, he's the same. But he has a funny hairstyle. What is he doing? He teaches Bhagavad Gita and all. So my cousin said, Arey, so many of our cousins, we are all doing materialistic thing. At least one person is there to, purify our sins. We should call him and organize a lecture at home. So my parents also became a little excited. Oh, there is demand. Because they thought this is useless. So the family is appreciating. They were afraid of criticism, but they saw appreciation. They liked it. So they said, oh, we should give lecture to the whole family. So around 100 family members assembled in Chennai. And while giving lecture to family, you can't take chances. So I took another brahmachari with me for the main lecture. I was like only giving the intro and the finishing. So this brahmachari, while giving lecture, pointed to me and he said, in the Bhagavatam it is said, Tri Saptavi Pita Puta Pitrabhi Satenaga. Anybody becomes Krishna conscious, 21 generations are liberated. And then he pointed to me and said, here is Gauranga Prabhu. He is in your family. He has become a devotee. All of you and 21 generations will go to Vaikuntha. And my cousins, they became very excited. After the lecture, one of my cousins came to me and he said, continue chanting. Please don't stop. And then he said, if you have any problem, come to me. I didn't know your practice is going to help me also. So, the gift of the Parampara is such that not only is the individual benefited, the current family is benefited, and 21 generations are benefited. Who can give a greater gift than this? And therefore, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described about Lord Chaitanya. Navadvipe ei shakti no koila prakase se shakti prakashini starila dakshina deshe. Lord Chaitanya saw that people are not they're not very favorable in receiving the message in Navadvip. So he went to South India and shared this message across South India. Kanchana sadrisha deha arunavasan pulaka shrukampa sveda tahate bhushan. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with his golden effulgent complexion, he was constantly chanting the names and the symptoms of love of God, ecstasy. Those were the main ornaments of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he inaugurates this Harinam Sankirtan in Alarnath. Keha nache keha gaye Sri Krishna Gopal premete bhasila loka strivruddha abal. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu includes everybody, irrespective of their caste, irrespective of their age, irrespective of any kind of social status, in the process of chanting and dancing. And Nityananda Prabhu sees this, and then he says, Dekhe Nityananda Prabhu kohe bhakta gane, ei rupe nritya age, hobe grame grame. This Harinam Sankirtan, which has been inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here at Alarnath, will be ultimately spread all over the world in every town and village. 500 years ago, Lord Nityananda made a prediction that His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada will take Krishna consciousness to every town and village, including Nottingham. Srila Prabhupada had given his first floor of the house to Gaudiya Math Brahmacharis for studying Harinamamrit Vyakaran. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's disciple, Dolo Govinda Shastri, was teaching Harinamamrit Vyakaran. He came out after teaching the Brahmacharis one day, and she saw Srila Prabhupada as a Grahastha, Abhay Babu, sitting on the stairs. He sat next to Srila Prabhupada and said, Abhay Babu, I just gave a lecture on the topic Prithviti Ache Joto Nagoradi Gram Sarvatra Prachara Hoibe Moranam. In every town and village, the holy name will spread. I spoke it, but I don't know whether it will ever happen. Abhay Babu, Srila Prabhupada, got up, took 2 steps down, turned around and pointing towards Srila Dol Govinda Shastri, he said, if Lord Chaitanya has made that prediction, it must happen. And then Srila Prabhupada took 2 steps down further, turned around and pointing to Dolo Govinda Shastri, he said, someday a fool who surrendered at the lotus feet of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada will make it happen. And Srila Prabhupada took 2 steps down further. And in that moment, Dol Govinda Shastri, who was also Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada disciple, started thinking, will that be me? And as he was thinking, contemplating, Prabhupada turned around and said, it will not be you. And Dol Govinda Shastri started thinking, what does Abhay Babu think? He will do it or what? How can he do it? He is a family man running business. And the only thing he is contemplating about is money, 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 business, business. He can never do it. But that's the heart of the Parampara. That your external occupation and profession and ashram does not matter. What matters is your conviction in the message of the Parampara, your contemplation on the order of the Parampara, your connection with the culture of the Parampara, your conviction that this is the goal of life. And Srila Prabhupada, at the age of 70, with great conviction, took Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's order upon his head and went to America and established Krishna consciousness and spread it all over the world. And in less than 11 years, he had established 108 temples all over the world. And then when Srila Prabhupada departed, people were doubting, now the founder Acharya is gone. The founder is gone. There will be instability. How will things continue on? The Parampara is finished or what? But that's what is the heart of the Parampara, where the message continues. The Harinam, the Harikatha, the Vaishnav Seva, the Prasadam, the book distribution, everything continued on. There were ups and downs and challenges. But things continued on to such an extent that today all over the world, ISKCON has 1100 temples in 120 countries. His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. That's what is the heart of the Parampara. The message of pure love. It continues to grow and continues to transform each one of us. All we need to do is to remain submissive and humble. So today's topic was the heart of the Parampara, and the essence of the heart of the Parampara is humility. Humility to accept our insignificance. Humility to accept that I am an instrument. Humility to understand that I have negative intentions currently. I need to purify my intentions. With that humility, when we follow the process and connect with the Parampara, then the Parampara allows us entrance into what will be tomorrow's topic, Vrindavan. And the whole idea of Vrindavan is obedience. So humility connects us to the heart of the Parampara, and obedience and service attitude allows us entrance into Vrindavan. So we connect with the heart of the Parampara through humility, and we enter into Vrindavan through obedience and loyal service attitude. So I'm grateful to Keshav Maharaj for allowing me to share a few words to try to purify myself as part of this Rise retreat. And compared to last year, the numbers seem to have doubled. Even Rise is rising. And I told Mayank that last time was a 3-star property, this time you got a 7-star property. So the whole idea of coming together is so that we can churn, contemplate, and deepen our Krishna consciousness. And the Vaishnava Satsang is the most privileged opportunity for us to actually intensify our bhakti. Nothing can be a greater privilege than this. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Are we okay to take few questions?
Oh, you are allowing questions?
Yeah, maybe like a 5.
Okay. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I have a question. So, when struggling with patience and tolerance, what can one do not to lose focus, especially in acute moments like we are fighting with a loved one, for example? How can we?
How to maintain patience
Yeah.
when there is a very agitating moment? Satsangat mukta dhusango hatum na utsahate budhaha kirtyamano yasho yasya sakrit akarnya rochanam. So the Bhagavatam says that the most important impact happens in our life by the association of those we are surrounded by. If you want to model a certain Vaishnava behavior, then you need to be close to such personalities who also demonstrate that behavior. And by the touch of those people, the transformation happens. Satsangat mukta dhusango. And therefore, when we get that association, then that transformation happens. If I'm prone to anger, then the anger will come down. If I'm prone to agitation, the agitation will come down. If I'm prone to, impatience, the impatience will come down in due course of time. So that's why outreach is so important. And yesterday, as all of you had gone on Harinam, to be angry, to be lusty, to be greedy, that's normal in the material world. But we have to question that by giving association. And then when the people see, oh, there is an alternative paradigm, then they get thoughts to transform and change. Like I remember when I was, doing this outreach in a medical college, there was this student who was my main preacher in the college, who was always preaching, never studying. So I would always get worried. I told him, study also. You have to pass exam. He said, I have full faith in your lectures. You have said in your lecture, Kaunteya Pratijani Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. I said, now don't put it on me. You have to do your duty. He says, no, don't worry. One day before exam, final exam, he was standing in front of Radha Gopinath and praying for half an hour. I got worried. I asked him, what are you praying? He said, I am telling Radha Gopinath ji, the whole campus knows I am a Hare Krishna devotee. I am preaching Hare Krishna last 4 or 5 years. The whole campus knows. I am telling Gopinath ji, tomorrow is exam. The future of the Hare Krishna movement in the campus is in your hand. I said, what a negotiation. He gave the exam. 2 months later, result came, he passed. And on that day of the result, I went for the program. Usually for my lecture, 7-8 people would come. For prasadam, 50 would come. Some student will open the door in the middle of the lecture and look at me and say, not yet finished lecture or what? And they'll become agitated and go. They thought I am like a, barrier between them and prasad. That day, for my lecture, 50 people were sitting. I got shocked. I thought I have come to the wrong room. And I asked one of the boys, why so many have come for lecture? And he quoted that boy, that preacher, saying, if that guy who we never saw studying, he has passed the exam with flying colors, it means Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I told this boy, this time you put too much load on Krishna. In your post-graduation, please study. Don't put so much load. And he studied well, and in the post-graduation, he got gold medal in whole Mumbai University. So I make sure I always close the story like this, otherwise students go with different inspiration. So, association is the fundamental principle for transformation. So, even within devotee association, devotee circle, depending on what kind of devotee you associate with, your nature, your proclivities, and your behavior will model accordingly. So, choose your association wisely, because in Kali Yuga, as individuals we are weak, but with association we become strong. Right? So if I don't feel like dancing, so I should associate with Dayamora Prabhu. And then I see him dancing, then Pangum Langayate Girim. Even if, I don't have strength in my feet, just by being around him, then you start making somersault. So that's the effect of association. When you are with somebody, they affect you positively. That's why we are here, all the way in Nottingham, to hear, chant, associate, and in the 3 days, you may just hear just one line, sometimes one word, sometimes one interaction, and it lights a bulb within you, which will keep you going for years together. That's what the association does. So sometimes people say, I don't remember anything in lecture. During lecture, I think I have understood everything. After lecture, you ask me what happened. We used to do television program, Atma serial, in Star Plus. We did shooting only 1 year, 2001, 2002. The Star Plus continued showing that for 8 years. Repeat telecast. And people would come to me and say, this year's episode better than last year. I said, Arey Baba, it's the same one. No, this year it is some special. I said, it is the same, Baba, I have only spoken. He says, no, you give many lectures, you forget. This year is very unique. So, don't worry about what you remember, what you don't remember. But even one word or one line or one perspective which you find positive is sufficient to stabilize our sadhana bhakti and move it in the right direction. So thank you, Mayank.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I ask you one question?
You have to ask Mayank the question. He's the boss.
Okay, one last one.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, sorry for that. My question is that once you connect to the Parampara, you have to be very humble. But I want to know what's the practical meaning of humbleness. Usually people say those are speak less, those are very introvert, they are humble. They consider them as a humble. But what's the exact practical meaning of humbleness?
Okay. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Nityananda Prabhu, प्रतिवर्ष नीला चले तुम न आसिब गौड़ रहे मोर इच्छा सफल करिब. Lord Chaitanya stayed in Puri for 18 years. He tells Nityananda Prabhu, first year you have come to with the devotees of Bengal for Rath Yatra, but henceforward you will not come with the Bengal devotees to Puri. Gaud rahe, you will stay in Bengal. More ichha safal kariba, and you will fulfill my desire there. So Srila Prabhupada says, oh, was Lord Chaitanya unfair to Nityananda Prabhu? Everybody else is getting the privilege, he is not getting? No. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving him the privilege of his instruction. Nityananda kohe ami deha tumi pran deha pran bhinna nahe eito praman. Nityananda says, my dear Lord, a disciple is like the body and the Guru's instruction is like the life and the soul for the disciple. And so your instruction is life for me. It is soul for me. And I have faith that if I follow that instruction, even though it may be difficult, to not be there with Lord Chaitanya for 17 years, we always see Gaur Nitai together. Hardly do we realize that Gaur and Nitai were together for a very short period of time only. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Nityananda Prabhu at Nandanacharya's house, from that point onwards, for a few years. Then from the time Lord Chaitanya started his South India tour, 2 years he came back, then he went around, 1510 to 1516, hardly Gaur and Nitai were together, and almost in 1517 this instruction Lord Chaitanya gave. Nityananda Prabhu never again saw Lord Chaitanya. And then he says, Achintya Shaktye tumi tahara ghatan ye karika nahi tumi nahika niyam. Nityananda Prabhu says, what inspires me to follow this instruction? By following this instruction of yours, although difficult, although painful, but it will release Achintya Shakti. Inconceivable power is released just with that humility and submission. And impossible becomes possible just when the disciple or the devotee agrees to be humble and submissive. So therefore, in the outside world, for success, skill is important. But in the spiritual life, sincerity and submission is more important. If a disciple is sincere and submissive, he becomes extraordinarily empowered, even though they may not have required skills for performing that seva. So that is the meaning of humility. Okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Gauranga Prabhu ki.